You're listening to Well Within 10, a bite-sized approach to working on your wellness. 10 minutes of wellness thought leadership from experts across the country, hosted by me, founder Stevi Carr. Today, we're chatting with Kim Baker, Director of Wellness for Northern Kentucky University. Kim has almost 25 years of experience in the health and wellness industry with a background in clinical exercise physiology and corporate wellness. Kim is dedicated to building, supporting, and sustaining a culture of health and well-being within an organization, as well as guiding and inspiring individuals and teams on their personal journey of holistic wellness. Kim, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Stevie. Thanks so much for having me today.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to dive in with you. You are an industry expert. You have so much knowledge to share with so many people, not only corporate leaders leading, wellness, but also employees at organizations that might be looking to drive change. So what are we going to be chatting about today?
I want to speak a little bit about basically how to engage your employees in wellness and how do you even go about that and what should you be focusing on?
That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being here. This episode is powered by the Christ Hospital. For more than 130 years, Christ Hospital has been dedicated to providing the best, most passionate care for their community. By continually reimagining what healthcare can be, they're more than just a hospital. Today, they have an extensive network of over 6,500 employees, 1,200 physicians, and 600 volunteers. Learn more at thechristhospital.com. So let's talk about the top 3 ways to engage employees. Kim, how did you approach this philosophy that you've been leading? I know that you've got years of experience, but let's dive into where can we learn more?
Well, my go-to for best practices for the last 12 years has been WellCoA, the Wellness Council of America, because they really provide a great template of how to really build a wellness program, how to sustain it. And everything that I believe in aligns with their philosophy as well. So they have benchmarks, and I heavily rely on a lot of those benchmarks.
That's fantastic. And you'd mentioned previously that there's about 7 benchmarks, but today we really want to talk about 3 that you've really leaned in on. So I think the first that I'm really interested in learning about is, with every organization, we know that leadership really drives a lot of the decision making, but I'd love to hear your philosophy on that.
Yes, their first benchmark is committed and aligned leadership, and that does not just refer to the president, the CEO. That refers to all levels of leadership. So VPs, directors, managers, supervisors, all of those titles are very important in engaging employees in anything health and well-being related that you have to offer.
And we know a lot of times that those leaders aren't always the best at role modeling. And so I think that not only that committed and aligned leadership, really emphasis on, making sure that they're playing their part and being able to know, how can people expect, or make requests from their leaders. And that really requires a culture of wellness, right? And I know you'd mentioned that that's kind of the second benchmark that you really look at.
Yes, that is a question I get asked very often. It really does boil down to the culture of your organization. And one of the ways that I try to affect that culture is communication is key, first of all. You can't communicate enough. Over communication, I would rather do that than under communicate. And again, when we're talking about leadership, they need to communicate as well, just to make people aware of what's available. Also, when you're communicating, that's also showing your support. It also provides encouragement for employees to participate in things during the workday. So I think it's very important to get middle managers, especially on board with what's going on and to communicate, just to make it, again, part of the culture. People are used to hearing it. So the messaging is very key in that, and making leadership aware, and then employees will also be aware. And then, sometimes as leaders, we drop the ball. We're juggling a lot. So sometimes it's even helpful for us to have our employees, engage with us like, hey, there's this wellness offering going on, or this is something we can do within our team and department. It's helpful for leaders to hear that and have it be a collaborative relationship, but weaving things into already existing activities that are happening. How can you bring wellness into meetings? Can you start meetings off with a breathing exercise or meditation? How can you bring people's focus into what you're getting ready to accomplish? Because we're all running all over the place, or we're zooming here and there, literally, and on online now. So how can we bring wellness into what we're already doing, so it's not just, well, here's another list of things that I have to do? How can we weave it into our activities, which will help weave it into the culture?
I think that's so important and crucial, is that I know the work that you lead is so important. You do a lot of wellness programming that it requires for people to schedule time. And maybe it is those middle managers that are the toughest to drive permission, only because they themselves don't recognize the workload that they are taking on too. It might not be intentional. And so I think that this culture of wellness, it really is about the intentionality of weaving it into the fabric of what you do, making it a part of your daily activities. And then also, talking about what that looks like from a holistic approach. Wellness isn't just creating opportunity for you to go over your lunch hour, so to do something. It is so much more than that. It's about, figuring out ways that you can reduce stressors. I'd love to share a little bit, I'd love to share with the audience a little bit more about your philosophy with that, because I've been very excited with your perspective in working with you the last couple of months.
Sure. Over the years, I have learned that stress is the larger umbrella that can drive a lot of the unhealthy behaviors or coping mechanisms that people have put into place. We have especially seen this over the last couple of years with COVID. So you can approach it from an individual perspective, where I have control over myself. What can I do as an individual or an employee to manage my stress so I can thrive and not just feel like I'm surviving every day? But we also have to take a look at this from an organizational perspective. Again, with the leadership, all the way from the top down to the managers, directors, and supervisors. How can we as leaders maybe decrease some of the stressful things that are happening in the workplace? Does that really need to be a meeting, or can that be an email? Like little things like that.
Yeah.
Can we give more flexibility so people can feel free to take care of themselves throughout the day? Does that meeting need to be an hour long? Can we log off 10 minutes early so people have a chance to catch their breath in between all of the duties that they have to do throughout the day? So I think that's very important to make sure that you're doing that for sure. And
I think it's so powerful. And, through the partnership with the Christ Hospital, WISE, NKU, and Christ have been working through a program called Sparking Change, which we've been trying to bring more than just your traditional wellness programming to NKU employees. And I think through doing that, we've been encouraging a lot about self-awareness, about how to manage conflict better, about gratitude, things that aren't traditional wellness resources and tools, bringing that to the forefront to say, we understand that, breath work and, managing your mental health is really, really crucial. There are also other ways to kind of bring more of your life into your work and integrate it more, so you also feel more fulfilled. And I think that the combination of what you're saying is, being resilient enough to manage that friction sometimes is really what people need in order to, make sure that they're able to withstand a lot of those regular inevitable stressors as well.
absolutely. And we've also found these last couple of years, it's getting even harder to separate work life, home life. You really can't. You also can't separate mental health from physical health. It's so intertwined. And integration is a great word. We have to learn how to integrate these things so we can bring our whole self to work. And also when we come home, our whole self is there. We haven't left a part of ourselves at work, and we're still thinking about everything that we did during the day, so we can be fully present wherever we're at in that moment.
Oh, I love that. Fully present and intentionality behind how we live our life. And Kim, I'm so grateful to have you here today. If you are interested in learning more about sparking change, you can check out shop.wisewellnessguild.com. We will also have on the blog a link to how you can check out what's going on under Kim Baker's purview at NKU. Northern Kentucky University is a leader in employee wellness, and the work that they've been doing is truly transformative in the academia space. If you want to check out more with Kim, I suggest you check out the link there. And Kim, thank you so much again for being here with us.
Thanks, Stevi. Glad to be here.
You've been listening to Well Within 10, a bite-sized approach to working on your wellness. You can find more episodes wherever you get your podcasts.